What if I told you that every door that closed in your life, every promise that wasn't kept, every person who left you behind, wasn't a loss, but rather a divine preparation for something absolutely extraordinary that is about to enter your life? Taurus, this video will completely change the way you see everything that hasn't worked out so far. Because while you were lamenting what was left behind, worrying about what you lost, feeling that life took important things away from you, the universe was working behind the scenes, preparing a replacement so powerful, so perfectly aligned with your true destiny, that when you look back sometime in the future, you will be grateful for every single thing that didn't stay in your life. Have you ever noticed how sometimes we cling so tightly to what we know, to what is familiar, that we fail to see that we are holding on to something that has already served its purpose? And that while our hands are busy holding on to the past, we don't have space to receive the new, the better, what truly belongs to our future. Well, that's exactly what's happening to you right now, Taurus. And this video will show you not only why you're not losing anything, but mainly what God is replacing in your life with something infinitely greater, more valuable, and more aligned with who you truly are, and with the glorious destiny that awaits you. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you will discover 10 powerful revelations about this divine exchange that is happening in your life right now. You will understand why that person who left your life needed to leave, why that job you lost was actually preventing you from achieving your true mission, why that relationship that ended was blocking the entrance of the true love you deserve. And most importantly, you will learn to identify the signs that something bigger is already on its way, how to prepare to receive this monumental blessing, and what to do to accelerate this divine replacement process. But pay attention, Taurus, because if you don't understand these truths now, you may end up rejecting exactly what heaven is trying to give you, or worse, you may go back and try to recover what God has already purposefully removed from your life. So pay close attention to every word in this video, because there is a very specific reason why you have been guided here today. First truth: the emptiness you feel is the space being prepared for the blessing. Taurus, I need you to understand something fundamental that will completely change the way you see this difficult moment you're going through. That emptiness you feel in your chest, that space where someone or something that seemed essential once was, that feeling that something is missing. This is not a sign of definitive loss. This is divine preparation. Because you need to understand that God never removes anything from your life without having a much bigger plan waiting to fill that space. Never. But here's the detail that many people don't understand. The new blessing cannot enter while the space is still occupied by what is old, by what has already fulfilled its purpose, by what no longer serves your growth and evolution. Think about it for a moment. If you have a closet completely full of old clothes, clothes that no longer fit you, clothes that are worn out and out of fashion, how are you going to put new clothes in there? First, you need to empty it, clean it, organize it, create space. And that's exactly what's happening in your life right now. That relationship that ended, however painful it may have been, was occupying the space reserved for your true love. That job you lost, however financially secure it offered, was occupying the space of your true calling. The work that will make you feel fulfilled and not just pay bills. That friendship that broke down, however much history you had together, was occupying the space of more authentic connections, of people who will truly support and uplift you. And you know what's even more incredible? While you're sitting there feeling this emptiness, thinking you've lost something important, God is literally preparing something so extraordinary for you that when it arrives, you'll look back and think, how could I have thought that was important? How could I not see that I was settling for so little? Because that's how divine replacement works, Taurus. It doesn't just bring something a little better. It brings something categorically superior, something that's on such a different level that it's incomparable to what you had before. It's like comparing a candle to the sun. Both illuminate, but the difference in intensity is absurd. But while the new hasn't arrived yet, you need to learn to inhabit this void consciously and intentionally. Because emptiness is not your enemy, Taurus. Emptiness is the womb where your new life is being gestated. It's the necessary silence before the symphony. It's the empty space on the canvas before the artwork is painted. Every void is pure potential, infinite possibility, a promise of fulfillment. The problem is that we've been taught to fear emptiness, to quickly fill any space that arises in our lives with anything, just to avoid feeling the discomfort of absence. And then we end up filling our lives with mediocre things, lukewarm relationships, situations that don't uplift us, simply because we can't bear to be with that empty space for any length of time. But you can't do that now, you understand? If you try to quickly fill that void with anything, Just because you're afraid of being alone or because you can't stand the anxiety of waiting, you'll block the entrance to what God is preparing for you. It's like having a parking space reserved for a wonderful new car that's being delivered, but you were so bothered by the empty space that you put an old, broken-down car there just to occupy the space. When the new car arrives, there won't be anywhere to put it, and you'll miss the blessing because you didn't have the patience to wait for the right time. So Taurus, I need you to change your perspective on this emptiness you're feeling. Stop seeing it as a loss and start seeing it as preparation. Stop lamenting what's gone and start celebrating the space that has been opened for something infinitely better to enter. Because this emptiness that hurts today is the same space that will transform into your greatest joy tomorrow. And the more you respect this process, the more you honor this time of preparation without trying to force or accelerate things your way, the more extraordinary the replacement that God is preparing for your life will be. Second truth. Recent losses were strategic removals from the universe. Now I'm going to reveal something to you that may be difficult to accept at first, but that will free you once and for all from this feeling that life has wronged you. Taurus, what you call loss, the universe calls strategic removal. What you see as something that was unjustly taken from you, the divine plan sees as something that was carefully removed because it was hindering your growth, blocking your destiny, preventing you from getting where you need to be. And this difference in perspective changes absolutely everything. Because when you think you've lost something, you put yourself in the role of victim. You get stuck in that narrative that life is unfair, that bad things always happen to you, that you're never lucky. But when you understand that it was a strategic removal, you put yourself in the role of someone being prepared for something greater. You realize that there is a higher intelligence orchestrating your life, carefully removing everything that no longer serves your greater purpose, even if at the moment you can't see why. Let's be honest here. That person who left your life, however much you loved them, however much history you built together, were they really helping you evolve, or were they keeping you trapped in a pattern that wasn't good for you? That job you lost, did it really give you space to use all your talents, or were you feeling suffocated, limited, underutilized? That situation that ended, was it really aligned with your true values, or were you making too many concessions, ignoring your own limits, betraying your own essence just to keep it going? The truth, Taurus, is that most of the time we cling to things and people that should have left our lives a long time ago. We hold tightly to what is familiar, even when it's no longer healthy, even when it no longer serves us, even when it's clear that it won't take us where we want to go. And then the universe needs to intervene. The universe needs to remove it, sometimes abruptly, sometimes painfully, because we wouldn't have the courage to do it alone. Because we can't see from within the situation how much it's harming us. And do you know why this happens especially to you, Taurus? Because of your nature. You are an earth sign, ruled by Venus, with a deep need for stability, security, and permanence. You don't like change. You cling to what you know. You prefer to stay in a reasonably good situation rather than risk seeking something excellent, because risk scares you. So often you get stuck in mediocre situations, in lukewarm relationships, in jobs that pay the bills but don't nourish your soul, simply because the idea of leaving and facing the unknown paralyzes you. But your destiny is not mediocre, Taurus. Your destiny is not a reasonable life. Your destiny is grand. And for you to get there, sometimes the universe needs to push you out of the nest, even if you're screaming and kicking, clinging to the edges, begging to stay. Because the universe knows you have wings, even if you've forgotten it. The universe knows you are capable of flying much higher, even if you've settled for staying on the ground because it seems safer. So all these recent losses, they weren't accidents. They weren't bad luck. They weren't punishment. They were strategic removals, divine interventions to take you out of situations that were keeping you small, that were wasting your potential, that were blocking the greater blessings that are trying to reach you. And I know it hurts. I know it's scary. I know you would have preferred things to have stayed as they were. But sometime in the future, when you are living the new reality that is being prepared for you, you will look back and be grateful for every door that closed, because each one was necessary so that the right door could open. Third truth. You were settling for less than you deserve. Taurus, the time has come to face an uncomfortable but liberating truth. You were settling for crumbs when you're entitled to the full feast. You were accepting half-hearted love when you deserved to be loved completely. You were working just to survive when you were made to thrive abundantly. And worst of all, you were doing it consciously, convincing yourself that you were being realistic, practical, mature, when in reality you were just afraid to believe that you deserve more. Because that's what happens, isn't it? Life teaches you to lower your expectations. Disappointments accumulate, and you learn to protect yourself by not expecting too much, not dreaming too big, not believing that extraordinary things can happen to you. And then you start to settle. You start accepting relationships where you give 80% and receive 20%. You start accepting jobs that barely pay your bills and don't give you any personal satisfaction. You start accepting superficial friendships that don't truly nourish you. And you normalize all of this. You call it reality. You tell yourself that's just how life is. But that's not how life needs to be, Taurus. Not for you. Not now. Because a moment has arrived in your spiritual journey where the universe is saying, enough. Enough of you diminishing yourself. Enough of you accepting less than you deserve. Enough of you betraying your own dreams because someone convinced you they were impossible. It's time for you to reclaim your self-esteem, your sense of self-worth, your ability to believe that you deserve good, great, abundant, extraordinary things. And do you know how the universe is doing this? By removing from your life exactly what you were settling for. Because as long as you accept mediocrity, the minimum, the sufficient, you will never seek excellence, abundance, the extraordinary. It's like the story of a hungry person who is offered stale, hard bread. If they accept and eat it, they will satisfy their hunger, but they will never discover that there is a banquet waiting for them in the next room. But if they refuse the stale bread, if they have the courage to remain hungry for a little longer, they will eventually enter the right room and discover the abundance that was available to them all along. That relationship that ended? You were settling. You were accepting divided attention when you deserved complete dedication. You were accepting conditional love when you deserved unconditional love. You were accepting someone who only wanted you when it was convenient, when you deserve someone who chooses you every day, in easy times and in difficult times, when you're at your best and when you're at your worst. And as long as you were in that lukewarm relationship, accepting those crumbs of affection, you would never be available for the true love that is meant for you. That job you lost? You were settling. You were only using a fraction of your talents. You were being paid far less than your work was truly worth. You were in an environment that didn't value your contributions, that didn't give you room to grow, that didn't recognize your potential. And as long as you were there, receiving that mediocre salary doing that unfulfilling work, you would never have the courage to seek out or even believe that a much better opportunity awaits you. The universe had to remove those situations from your life because you weren't going to do it alone, Taurus. You were going to stay there, contenting yourself, convincing yourself that everything was fine, that it could be worse, that at least you had something. But God doesn't want you to have something. God wants you to have everything that was destined for you from before you were born. And all of that is much, much greater than what you were accepting. Fourth truth. Every end was necessary for a greater new beginning. Have you ever stopped to think that perhaps the biggest problem isn't things ending, but rather our failure to understand that some endings are absolutely necessary for new and better things to begin? Taurus, I need you to understand a fundamental law of the universe. Nothing new can truly begin until the old has completely ended. You can't build a new house without first demolishing the old structure occupying that land. You can't plant a new crop without first harvesting and clearing the field of the previous crop. And you can't start the next chapter of your life while you're still trying to live the chapter that's already over. But we resist endings so much, don't we? We cling to relationships that have already died, trying to revive something that no longer has life. We hold on to jobs that no longer serve us, afraid to let go of the security of the familiar, even if it's small. We try to maintain friendships that have already worn out, forcing conversations and meetings that no longer flow as they once did, just because we're afraid to admit that that cycle has been completed. And then we get stuck in this limbo, where we're no longer in what we were but also can't enter what will be, because we haven't had the courage to completely close the door on the past. And do you know what happens when we get stuck in this limbo? Life stops. Growth stops. Evolution stops. Because all the energy that should be invested in the new is wasted trying to sustain the old. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. You can keep pouring water in there as much as you want, making an effort, dedicating yourself, wearing yourself out, but that bucket will never be full because it has already lost its capacity to hold water. It has already fulfilled its purpose. It has reached the end of its useful life. Now let's look at your specific situation, Taurus. Those breakups that happened recently in your life, however painful they were necessary. They were inevitable. They were perfectly timed by the universe to happen exactly when they did, because that was the right moment for those cycles to close and for new cycles to begin. And I know you can't see that yet. I know that from your current perspective it seems like everything has crumbled, that you've lost your footing, that your life has turned upside down. But some time from now, when you are living the new reality that is being built now, you will look back and see that those breakups were not destruction, they were renewal. Because that's how the cycle of life works, Taurus. Every death is followed by a rebirth. Every winter is followed by a spring. Every dark night is followed by a dawn. And the same is true for the cycles of your personal life. That relationship that ended, it needed to end to make room for a much deeper, truer love, aligned with who you are today. That job you lost, it needed to end so you would have the courage to seek something that truly fulfills you and allows you to use all your gifts. That situation that fell apart, it needed to fall apart so you could realize you were trapped in a pattern that no longer served you. And the most interesting thing is that, generally, when we look back on our lives, we realize that the moments of greatest growth, greatest transformation, greatest elevation always came after the most difficult endings. They always came after those situations that at the time seemed devastating but that were actually gateways to a better version of our lives. So this ending you are experiencing now is not the end of the story. It's the end of a chapter. And the next chapter that is about to begin will be so much grander, so much more abundant, so much more aligned with your truth, that you will wonder why it took so long for that previous chapter to end. Look, before we continue, I want to make a special request to you who are watching this far, and who feel that these words are touching your heart. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Comment below where you're watching from. I love knowing where you're from and being able to connect with each of you. And if these messages are truly making a difference in your life, if you feel that this channel has helped you, supported you, given you strength to move forward, consider becoming a supporter of the channel, a subscriber. This support is what allows us to continue producing this content for you every day, accompanying you on this spiritual journey. So subscribe, activate the bell, comment where you're watching from, and if you can, support the channel. Let's continue. Fifth truth. The universe is aligning the right people and opportunities now. While you were busy looking back, lamenting what's over, questioning why certain things didn't work out, the universe was busy working on the future. And I need you to understand what's happening behind the scenes of your life right now. While you sleep, while you work, while you go through your days trying to process all these changes, cosmic gears are turning, connections are being made, opportunities are being prepared, people are being directed to cross your path at the exact moment. Because the universe doesn't work the way we do, Taurus. We think linearly, in an immediate way. We want to see results today from the effort we made yesterday. We want things to happen at our speed, in our time, the way we planned. But the universe works in a much more complex, much more intelligent, much more perfect way. The universe is coordinating millions of variables at the same time, aligning not only what you need but also making sure you are ready to receive it, making sure the other people involved are also ready, making sure the timing is perfect so that everything fits together in the best possible way. So right now, while you're thinking nothing is happening, in reality everything is happening. That person who's going to enter your life and change everything for the better, they're being prepared. They're going through their own transformations, learning their own lessons, becoming the version of themselves that will be ready to meet you and build something beautiful with you. That perfect job opportunity, that project that will fulfill you and bring you abundance, it's being put together. The pieces are coming together, the right people are being placed in the right positions, everything is aligning so that when it reaches you, it will be at the perfect time. And you know what's even more incredible? You don't need to make any of this happen. You don't need to force it. You don't need to control it. You don't need to be anxious trying to make things fit together. Because that's not your job. Your job now is much simpler and at the same time much more challenging: to trust. To trust that while you don't see anything happening visibly, everything is happening invisibly. To trust that the universe hasn't abandoned you, hasn't forgotten you, isn't punishing you. To trust that each day that passes without you seeing results is actually another day of preparation for something grand. But I know it's hard to trust when you don't see evidence, Taurus. I know your practical, earthy nature needs concrete proof. You're not the type to believe empty promises. You need to see to believe. And that's exactly why this waiting period is so challenging for you. Because you're being asked to develop a quality that doesn't come naturally to you: faith. True faith isn't believing when you see the evidence. Anyone can do that. True faith is believing when there's no visible evidence, when everything around you seems to be saying the opposite, when logic and reason can't explain why you should continue believing. And it is this faith that is being built within you now. Because the blessings that are coming are so great, so far beyond what you can imagine with your limited mind, that you need an equally great capacity for faith to be able to receive them. You need to become someone who believes in miracles, who believes in extraordinary possibilities, who believes that the best is yet to come even when the present doesn't seem very promising. And this inner transformation that is happening within you now, this expansion of your capacity to trust in the divine, is as important as the external blessings that are being prepared. Because without this inner transformation, you would not have the emotional and spiritual structure to sustain the blessings that are coming. So the universe is working on two fronts simultaneously. On one hand, it's externally aligning the right people, the right opportunities, the right situations. On the other hand, it's working internally on you, preparing you, strengthening you, expanding you so that when everything is ready on the outside, you are also ready on the inside. And when these two processes are completed at the same time, when the external and the internal are perfectly aligned, then that magical moment will happen where everything fits together, where everything makes sense, where you look around and think, it was worth every tear, it was worth every sleepless night, it was worth every moment of doubt because it brought me here. Sixth truth. Your prayers are being answered differently. Taurus, you've been praying, haven't you? You've been asking, pleading, bargaining with God, with the universe, with whatever higher power you believe in. You've been saying your prayers, lighting your candles, putting your intentions out into the world. And maybe you're starting to feel like your prayers aren't being heard, that you're talking to a void, that nobody is paying attention to your suffering. But I need to tell you something fundamental. Your prayers are being answered. All of them. The answer just isn't coming in the way you expected. Because here's the thing about prayers. We usually pray asking for specific things. We want that person to come back. We want to get that job back. We want that situation to be resolved the way we imagined. And when that doesn't happen, when the answer doesn't come the way we asked, we think the prayer wasn't answered. But that's not how it works. God doesn't necessarily answer what you asked for. God answers what you need. And often what you need is completely different from what you think you want. Did you ask for that person to come back? God is giving you something better. The opportunity to find someone who loves you the right way. Someone who doesn't make you feel like you need to beg for attention and affection. Did you ask to get that job back? God is giving you something better. An opportunity to discover a career that truly fulfills you. One that's not just about paying bills but about making a difference and using your true gifts. Did you ask for things to go back to the way they were? God is giving you something better. The chance to create a completely new life, more authentic, more aligned with who you really are. And I know that at first this seems cruel. It seems like you're not being heard, that your desires don't matter, that you have no say in what happens in your own life. But the truth is the opposite. You are being so loved, so cared for, so protected, that the universe is refusing to give you what will harm you just because you asked for it. It's like a child asking for sweets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The mother who truly loves that child will say no, even if the child cries, throws a tantrum, gets angry. Because the mother knows that giving the child what they are asking for will harm them, even if at the moment the child can't understand that. And that's exactly what's happening to you right now. You're asking for things that your limited, wounded, frightened self thinks it needs. But your higher self, connected to the divine, knows that you need something much bigger, much better, much more aligned with your true purpose. So your prayers are being answered, but in a higher way. You're asking for crumbs but receiving the whole feast. You're asking for a candle but receiving the sun. You're asking for a stream but receiving the ocean. The problem is that as long as you keep insisting on what you specifically ask for, you won't be able to see and receive what is being offered. It's as if you have your hands closed, clinging to what you think you want, and then you can't open your hands to receive what God is trying to put in them. You need to let go. You need to relinquish your specific version of how things should be. You need to expand your vision beyond the limitations of your mind, and begin to trust that there is a greater, more intelligent, more loving plan being executed in your life. And when you do that, when you let go of that rigid expectation of how the answer should come and make room to receive the answer in the way it is coming, you will have a wonderful surprise. You will realize that all you really wanted when you prayed wasn't that specific person, that specific job, that specific situation. What you really wanted was to feel loved, safe, fulfilled, prosperous, at peace. And all these things are coming to you now, but through paths you never imagined, in ways you never expected, in ways so much better than you could have planned on your own. Seventh truth. You are being protected from situations that would harm you. There's something happening in your life that you can't yet see clearly, Taurus, but it's absolutely crucial that you understand it. Many of those situations that didn't work out, those doors that closed in your face, those opportunities that seemed perfect but somehow didn't materialize, they didn't work out because you were being protected. Because if those situations had progressed, if those doors had opened, if those opportunities had materialized, you would have gotten yourself into situations that would have caused you much more pain, much more damage, much more suffering than you can imagine now. Because you only see the surface of things. You see what that person showed you, not who they really were behind the mask. You see the promises of that opportunity, not the hidden traps that would only become evident after you had already invested time, energy, and resources. You see the potential of that situation, not the inevitable problems that would arise if you had moved forward. But the universe sees everything. The universe sees not only the present, but also all possible futures that unfold from each decision, each path, each choice. And when the universe sees that a certain path will lead you to a place of unnecessary pain, of wasted potential, of deviation from your true purpose, it intervenes, closes that door. It makes that opportunity fail. It removes that person from your life. Even if you don't understand at the moment, even if you get angry, even if you feel you are being prevented from having what you want, because the universe loves you too much to let you follow paths that will destroy you, even if those paths seem attractive from the outside. Think about it. How many times in your life have you really wanted something that didn't work out, and months or years later you looked back and thought, thank goodness that didn't happen, imagine if I had succeeded, imagine the mess I would have gotten myself into. How many times have you been grateful for a no that at the time seemed devastating, but actually saved you from a terrible situation? Well, that's exactly what's happening now. You just don't yet have the perspective of time to see it. That person who left your life? Maybe they were about to betray you in a much worse way. Maybe they were hiding addictions, debts, problems that would only surface after you were already completely involved. Maybe they were going to trap you in a toxic relationship that would destroy your self-esteem and distance you from everything and everyone you love. That job you couldn't get? Maybe that company was about to go bankrupt. Maybe that work environment was extremely toxic and would lead you to complete burnout. Maybe that boss was going to exploit you and prevent you from growing professionally. That opportunity that seemed perfect but didn't materialize? Maybe it would have taken you away from the right people you need to meet. Maybe it would have consumed all your time and energy in a direction that isn't your true purpose. Maybe it would have given you some superficial success but distanced you from your real purpose. And the universe, seeing all this, seeing where each path leads, chose to protect you by closing that door before you could enter and get lost inside. But divine protection isn't always comfortable, Taurus. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it seems cruel. Sometimes you can't understand why you're being prevented from following a path that seems so good, so right, so perfect. But you need to trust. You need to believe that there is a higher intelligence operating in your life, an intelligence that loves you deeply and is committed to your highest good, even when it means denying you what you think you want. Eighth truth. Your value has not diminished just because something ended. Taurus, I need to talk about something very important right now because I know you might be carrying a lie in your heart. The lie that if that person left you, if that job didn't work out, if that situation fell apart, it's because there was something wrong with you. The lie that you weren't good enough, weren't interesting enough, weren't valuable enough. The lie that you somehow failed and that's why things didn't work out. And I'm here to tell you with complete clarity and firmness, that's an absolute lie. The end of a situation says nothing about your worth. Nothing. The fact that someone left your life doesn't mean you weren't worthy of staying. The fact that you missed an opportunity doesn't mean you weren't capable enough. The fact that something didn't work out doesn't mean there was something fundamentally wrong with you. It only means that it wasn't for you. That that person wasn't your person. That that opportunity wasn't your opportunity. That that path wasn't your path. Because you need to understand one fundamental thing. Not everything that is good is for you. Not everything that works for other people will work for you. Not every opportunity that seems incredible is the right opportunity for your specific purpose. And when something that is good but not for you tries to establish itself in your life, the universe needs to remove it. Not because you aren't good enough for it, but because you are too good, you are destined for something better, something more specific, something perfectly suited to who you truly are. It's like trying to fit a puzzle piece in the wrong place. The piece isn't defective. It's perfect. It's just not perfect for that specific space. It belongs somewhere else on the board. And you, Taurus, you are a unique, valuable, essential piece of this great puzzle that is life. But you don't belong just anywhere. You belong to your specific place where you will fit perfectly, where all your qualities will make sense, where you will contribute exactly the way you were designed to contribute. But as long as you're trying to fit into the wrong places, you'll keep thinking there's something wrong with you. You'll keep questioning yourself, belittling yourself, doubting your worth. Because you'll be trying to be something you're not, do something you weren't made to do, belong to places where you weren't designed to be. And obviously that won't work. Not because you're not good, but because you're trying to be good in the wrong place. And you know what happens when you finally stop trying to fit into the wrong places and start looking for your right place? Magic. Everything flows. Everything makes sense. Everything falls into place effortlessly. The right people recognize you immediately. The right opportunities appear naturally. The right situations develop organically. Because you're no longer fighting against the current. You're no longer trying to force connections that weren't meant to exist. You're no longer diminishing yourself to fit into spaces that are too small for you. So please stop questioning your worth based on situations that didn't work out. Stop using breakups and rejections as evidence that there's something wrong with you. Because there's nothing wrong with you. You are exactly as you should be. You are valuable, important, essential. And the fact that certain things have left your life doesn't diminish that in the slightest. In fact, it only frees up space for things that truly recognize and honor your worth to enter. Ninth truth. The waiting time is strengthening you for what's to come. I know you're tired of waiting, Taurus. I know you want things to happen now, that you're impatient, anxious to see some concrete result from all this transformation that's happening. I know there are days when you wake up and think, until when? Until when will I have to endure this emptiness? Until when will I have to live in this uncertainty? Until when will I have to wait to see something good happen in my life? And I completely understand this frustration. But I need to show you something you're not able to see from where you are. This waiting time is not wasted time. This waiting time is essential preparation. Because you're not ready yet for what's coming, Taurus. I know you think you are. I know you feel you've suffered enough, that you've learned enough, that you're more than ready to receive your blessings. But there's a difference between being ready in your perception and being ready in reality. And the universe, which can see much further than you, knows exactly what still needs to happen within you before you are truly prepared to sustain the blessings that are coming. Think of it this way. If you win the lottery but lack financial maturity, you'll lose everything quickly and might even destroy your life in the process. If you find the love of your life but are still carrying unhealed traumas from the past, you'll sabotage the relationship and lose that person. If you receive the professional opportunity of your dreams, but haven't yet developed the necessary skills, you'll fail and miss that chance. So it's not enough for the blessing to arrive. You need to be prepared to receive, maintain, and multiply that blessing. And that's what's happening during this waiting period. You are being strengthened emotionally so you don't crumble when things get intense in the new cycle. You are being spiritually matured, so you can maintain a high vibration even when challenges arise. You are being refined in your values so you don't lose your way when abundance and success arrive. You are developing wisdom to make better choices going forward. You are building resilience to withstand the pressure that comes with greater blessings. Because here's a truth no one tells you. Great blessings come with great responsibilities. The more you receive, the more is expected of you. The higher you climb, the stronger you need to be to stay there. The more extraordinary your life is, the more you will be tested to see if you truly deserve it. So this time you are spending now waiting, in uncertainty, in the desert, this time is transforming you into someone strong enough to carry the abundant life that is being prepared for you. Each day of waiting is adding another layer of patience. Each moment of uncertainty is developing your faith. Each difficult situation you face during this period is building your problem-solving skills. Each time you choose to persevere even without seeing results, you are strengthening your determination. Each difficult night you endure is expanding your emotional resilience. You are being built brick by brick into a version of yourself capable of receiving, maintaining, and honoring what is to come. And I promise you, Taurus, when it finally arrives, when you are living that new reality, you will look back on this waiting time and you will understand. You will see how necessary each day was. You will realize how unprepared you truly were before, and how essential this whole preparation process was. And you will be grateful for not having received the blessings sooner, because if you had, You wouldn't have had the strength to sustain it and you probably would have lost everything. 10th truth. The best is yet to come, and it's closer than you think. And we finally arrive at the last truth, Taurus, and this is perhaps the most important of all. After everything we've discussed, after all these revelations about what's really happening in your life, I need you to understand this with absolute clarity. The best is yet to come. And it's not coming in some distant and nebulous future. It's coming soon. It's closer than you can imagine. In fact, it's so close that if you could see what I'm seeing from the spiritual plane, you would be overcome with emotion. Because there's something you need to know about how things manifest from the spiritual plane to the physical plane. They already exist fully formed on the spiritual plane long before they appear in your physical reality. That perfect relationship that's destined for you? It already exists. That extraordinary professional opportunity? It's already formed. That abundant and fulfilled life you so desire? It's already real on the spiritual plane. What's happening now is just the final process of manifestation, of bringing what already exists there here, into your tangible reality. And when something is about to manifest, when it's making that final transition from the invisible to the visible, there's always a moment that seems the darkest, the most difficult, the most desperate. It's like childbirth. That final moment before the baby is born is the most painful, the most intense, the moment when the mother feels she can't take it anymore. But it's precisely at that moment that she needs to push harder, because the baby is just centimeters away from being born. If she gives up now, at the final moment, she loses everything that was built up during the 9 months of pregnancy. And that's exactly where you are now, Taurus. You're in that final moment before the birth of your blessings. That's why it's so difficult. That's why it feels like you can't take it anymore. That's why the pressure is so intense. Not because you're being punished, not because you're being forgotten, but because you're literally inches away from the moment when everything will change. Inches away from the moment your new life will be born. Inches away from the moment all the promises the universe made to you will materialize before your eyes. But you need to hold on a little longer. You need to keep believing when there's no evidence. You need to maintain faith when everything seems to indicate the opposite. You need to keep doing your part, taking care of yourself, preparing yourself, positioning yourself correctly, even without seeing immediate results. Because giving up now would be the greatest tragedy. It would be like giving up in the last kilometer of a marathon you've run for hours. It would be like letting go of the rope in a tug-of-war when you were seconds away from winning. It would be like closing the book with 2 pages left before the happy ending. And look, I'm going to give you some signs that what I'm saying is true, that the best is really coming. First, you're feeling an inexplicable restlessness, a feeling that something big is about to happen even without knowing what. Second, synchronicities are appearing in your life, repeated numbers, improbable coincidences, signs from the universe confirming that you're on the right path. Third, you're having intense dreams, dreams that seem more real than reality, dreams that leave you with a strange feeling when you wake up. Fourth, people from the past are reappearing, old situations are being remembered, because you're closing cycles before opening new ones. Fifth, you're feeling the need to make changes, to clean up your life, to get rid of what no longer serves you. And this is not a coincidence, it's preparation. All these signs indicate that you are entering the final phase before the manifestation of your blessings. So don't give up now, Taurus. Don't let tiredness, frustration, or impatience make you give up when you are so close. Because I promise you, with all the certainty I have, what is coming into your life is so great, so abundant, so far beyond anything you could have imagined, that when it arrives, you will fall to your knees in gratitude. You will look back and understand every tear, every difficult night, every moment of pain. And you will say it was worth it. Every second of waiting was worth it. Because it brought me here, to this life that I didn't even know was possible to have. So we've reached the end of today's journey. And I sincerely hope that these 10 truths have touched something deep within you, Taurus. I hope you've understood that no, you're not losing anything. Everything that left your life left to make way for something infinitely greater, more aligned, more perfect for who you truly are, and for the destiny that awaits you. God, the universe, divine energy, whatever you want to call it, is working tirelessly behind the scenes of your life, orchestrating a replacement so extraordinary that it will leave you speechless when it finally manifests. But while that doesn't happen, while you're still in this time of waiting and preparation, I need you to do a few things. First, stop looking back with regret. Stop questioning what could have been different. Stop trying to understand why certain things didn't work out. That's in the past, it served its purpose, it's taught you what it needed to teach. Now it's time to look ahead with expectation and faith. Second, take care of yourself. Use this time to strengthen yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Invest in yourself. Develop your skills. Work on your wounds. Raise your vibration. Because when the blessings arrive, you will need to be strong to sustain them. Third, keep your faith alive. Every day, even when you see no evidence, even when everything seems to be at a standstill, even when anxiety hits hard, you need to renew your decision to believe. You need to declare aloud, I believe the best is coming. I believe I am being prepared for something great. I believe that every no I received is guiding me toward a bigger yes. I believe my life will surprise everyone, including myself. Because this daily declaration of faith is what keeps you aligned with the blessings that are coming. And fourth, pay attention to the signs. The universe is constantly sending you messages, showing you that it's working in your life, giving you clues about what's to come. But you'll only notice these signs if you're paying attention, if you're open, if you're in tune. So pay attention to synchronicities, to doors that open unexpectedly, to people who appear at the right time, to insights that come out of nowhere. Because each of these signs is a confirmation that you're on the right path, that you're being guided, that you're not alone on this journey. Now I want to extend a special invitation to you. If you've made it to the end of this video, if these words have touched your heart in any way, I want you to do 3 things now. First, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Because I post content like this every day, content to support you, strengthen you, remind you of who you really are and what's in store for you. And you won't want to miss any videos. Second, comment below where you're watching from. I love knowing where you're from, creating this connection with each of you. And maybe you can also comment on which of these 10 truths touched you the most, which one you most needed to hear today. And third, if this channel has made a difference in your life, if these videos have helped you, given you strength to continue, supported you through difficult times, consider becoming a supporter of the channel, a subscriber. This support is what allows this work to continue, what allows us to continue producing this quality content for you every day. And I'll be honest with you. When you support the channel, you're not just helping us. You're creating an energetic movement of generosity in your own life that comes back to you multiplied. Because it's a universal law. What you give, you receive back multiplied. So subscribe, comment, and if you can, support the channel. It will make all the difference both for us and for you. And before I finish, I want to leave you with one last reflection, one last challenge. During this week, I want you to do the following exercise. Every time you find yourself lamenting what you lost, what didn't work out, what left your life, I want you to stop and consciously rewrite that narrative. Instead of saying, I lost such and such, say, I am being prepared to receive something better. Instead of saying, why didn't this work out? Say, this wasn't for me, something more aligned is coming. Instead of saying, I'm suffering needlessly, say, I am growing, I am strengthening, I am preparing for the blessings that are on their way. Because the way you tell your own story to yourself determines how you live that story. If you continue to see yourself as a victim, as someone who has been wronged, as someone for whom things never work out, that will be your experience. But if you begin to see yourself as someone being prepared for greatness, as someone going through a necessary transformation process, as someone whose best is truly yet to come, that perspective will completely change your energy, your vibration, your way of walking through the world. And consequently, it will accelerate the manifestation of the blessings that await you. So Taurus, I believe in you. I believe in your potential. I believe that better days, much better days, are coming for you. And I will be here, every day, reminding you of that, supporting you on this journey, helping you keep your faith alive until you see with your own eyes the manifestation of everything that heaven has prepared for you. Don't give up. Don't let tiredness defeat you. Don't allow impatience to make you make hasty decisions. Because you are closer than you imagine to the moment when everything will change. And when it changes, it will change in such a beautiful, perfect way, so far beyond anything you could have planned, that you will be grateful for having had the strength to continue until now. A huge hug, have a blessed week, and see you in the next video. God be with you, stay in the light, and always remember, the best is yet to come.